Congresswoman Eshoo, our tremendous champion, we're here to tell you that political change doesn't start in Washington, D.C. and then trickle down. Political change is bottom up. It comes from the grassroots. And as we know, millions of Americans are weighing in. And let's be clear about what we're talking about. Never should a giant corporation prioritize whose voice is heard, whose content is seen, and who is silenced on the internet. We won't let that happen. But it's not hypothetical, because in 2007, Verizon blocked text messages from advocates it said were controversial or unsavory. Now, we know here at the FCC, we're playing a tough hand, but I don't have to tell you, we've won before when it comes to protecting the internet. You might remember a couple of years ago, those bills, HIPAA and SOPA, that were going to change what the internet was all about. Nobody thought we had a prayer. 40 senators were on the other side. Hollywood, the Chamber of Commerce, all the money. But you know what we had? 3 days before the big vote, 15 million Americans weighed in, and the people won. So we wanted to come by and say that this is going to be a fight till we win. We know we've got our hands full at the FCC, but as the Congresswoman said, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. We're going to play a stronger hand in the courts. We know that, I heard a rumor, Congresswoman, there's an election coming up. I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to be against an internet where after you pay your internet access fee, you get to go where you want, when you want, how you want. That's what the internet's about. That's what we're going to defend. We're going to stay at it until we win.
We're here live at the FCC where there's a large group of protesters that have gathered. We just heard from Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, who is speaking out against the decision to end the FCC's decision. We're bringing it to you live with the National Discourse.
Most unapologetic feminist voices that we have today. She's vice president of Cassius, which is a programming division of I1. She's a former editor at Ebony Magazine, and I know that you know of her from the ubiquitous Black Twitter, but Jamila Lemieux!
Good morning. I speak to you today as someone whose career would not exist were it not for the open internet. And I don't think that 1 or 10 or 100 or 1,000 stories of individual professional success are enough to inspire people to care about this thing. So what that I got to work in a magazine or work on a website, right? But we say that everyone has a voice.
So we're bringing you live the protests at the FCC for net neutrality. It's a very controversial decision to end it, but a lot of people are in favor of keeping it open. The opposing argument to that would be that internet prices if you have free net neutrality, if you have to have free access to internet for everybody. So Jackson.
Yeah, it's also that repeal net neutrality will allow for companies to innovate, create more options, and which would allow more options, which equals lower prices. I mean, my Comcast bill has been going through the roof over the past couple of years since the FCC, under then Commissioner Tom Wheeler, instituted it in 2015. And pretty much this is net neutrality rule stifles innovation, which allows for better services among consumers and not have prices jacked up as a result. And also, there are more than the big four ISPs that people talk about nationwide. You also have to look at the rural internet consumer. Remember last year's election? The rural vote was ignored. Rural people were ignored, and this is an example. They are still.
So it's not just the protesters that are opposing the FCC's decision. You have large companies like Google and Facebook also supporting net neutrality. So you have to wonder why they are supporting this effort. But we're going to keep covering this for you.
Some of us had children that were born because of a relationship that started on the internet. We are learning more about ourselves.
Could we ask you a couple questions about why you're here? Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Deb Friedman.
Okay, Deb.
Where are you from, Deb?
Where are you from?
I'm from here. I'm from D.C.
From D.C., okay. Why are you here today outside the FCC?
Because I think net neutrality is important for democracy.
And how so? How is it like a utility? What is your response to those who say not like a utility? You know, it's not like water and gas. What's your response to those people?
We got two people inside the FCC.
It's got nothing to do with utility. It's got to do with democracy.
Earlier, Commissioner Clyburn.
You mind elaborating?
Yes. In unequal access to the speeds that are available on the internet. Inequality is not democracy. It means that some people have a greater say than other people. That is undemocratic.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deb.
You're right. What was the name of your company?
I'm Cam.
No, what was the name of your company?
The National Discourse.
TheNationalDiscourse.com.
Minutes, I'm going to walk inside that building and take a vote that is wrong. There is so much that is not right about what the FCC is doing here today. There is so much that is not right about this agency's.
This is a FCC Democratic Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel speaking on the stage.
Online without our broadband providers getting in the way or making choices for us. We do not need to hand them the power to choose which voices to amplify, to choose what connections we make and what communities we create. I am bothered by the incredible contempt this agency.
What's really interesting is you can actually see FCC employees sitting by the window outside of the office building and actually watching the protests as they unfold outside. We'll try to give you live shot
benefit
of that,
from internet openness.
You
It doesn't matter
on the
if
third
you are
floor,
progressive or
looking down at
conservative.
the
You
protest.
benefit from internet openness.
It's quite a large crowd. They have
If you
loudspeakers,
are a startup or an established business,
a lot of
you
media
benefit
presence,
from
a lot of
internet
police presence here as well. We're going to try to talk to some more people in just a
And we may
minute.
be taking the wrong vote today. But I'm not giving up, and neither should any of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Jessica Rosenworth. So we know you're on our side. All right, we're going to take a quick 3-minute break so that you can get your bodies moving and we can get a little bit warmer before we keep it rolling. Get some music on.
Are you here supporting the protest? Oh, okay. Here, let's go talk to more people.
Talk to more people. Yeah.
Tell me that it's evolution. Well, you know, we don't want to change the world. But when we talk about destruction,
Don't you have a
from Minnesota, so I don't need a coach. But actually, I'm with the National Discourse. We're doing a Facebook Live video right now. Is that okay?
Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota.
I wish your senator was here.
Oh, Al Franken? Oh, he's resigned.
Well, he hasn't quit yet, has he?
Not yet. I don't know. He says he will. But,
I know the situation.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
I think he is a great net neutrality champion and it'd be lovely to have him here.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have resigned.
What about the photo of him groping women?
The one on the airplane?
Yeah.
Look, he was a comedian. It was a USO tour. You got to take stuff in context. I mean, if this were in an office and I was leaning over and groping somebody, of course it's not right.
Right.
But
you'd probably get fired, right?
Probably, and worse, getting fired. But if you look at the context of it, you know, it may be gross, it may be lewd, but it's not something that he has to lose his seat over.
I got it. So why are you here supporting net neutrality?
I've been involved in this issue for 10 plus years, and it's just sort of a shame when it keeps, getting taken away from us. I was with public interest groups and covered it before that, and it's just one of those things where it's very important to progressives, to conservatives, to business. Net neutrality is the most pro-business action the government's ever taken.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of companies like Facebook and Google also supporting net neutrality.
Sure, and they wouldn't be here without it. But it's all, that's the thing. They're huge now, but they weren't huge to start with. And there are lots of little startups everywhere that depend on getting the customers without having to pay a toll.
Right. What about the argument that it makes prices go up for consumers?
That has nothing to do with pricing. All what it has to deal with is access and preferred access. So what it means is that, if I want a streaming service, they already jacked up Netflix in 2014. Verizon and Comcast did. And so let's suppose there's Acorn TV, which has all this neat British programming. They can't afford what Verizon and Comcast want to jack them up for.
Yeah.
But I should be able to see them because I'm paying an internet access fee.
Okay, I got it.
Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Chairman Pie has got to go! Woo! Make some noise! All right, y'all. We're gonna keep it moving. It is my honor to introduce somebody who is one of the most sharpest black organizers in the country today, fighting for the liberation of black people all across the country and the world. She's a DMV native, and she currently serves as the national co-organizing chair for Black Youth Project 100, which is an organization fighting for the liberation of young black people all across the country. So I'm going to bring up Brianna Gibson, who's going to tell you a little bit about what the internet means to young black people in our work fighting for justice.
Thank you, Erin. You're very kind. I appreciate all the kind words. I'm really glad to be out here with you all today. As Erin said, I'm National Organizing Co-Chair of BYP 100, and we are an organization of young black 18 to 35-year-old organizers and activists who are fighting for justice and a just future for all black people. And so the way in which we came about is after the Zimmerman verdict, the person who murdered Trayvon Martin, we had 100 black organizers and activists who decided that they wanted to form an organization with the recognition that the stories of young black people were not being told as they should be in our mainstream narratives. And with the recognition that there was no meaningful engagement for people who are young, black, and between the ages of 18 and 35, and actually knew that Black people need agency, and we are going to build power in order to affect change in our futures. And so part of us building power has been via the open internet. We've used the internet to tell our stories. We've used the internet to spread images of direct actions, to spread campaigns, and to inspire other people and let folks know that you actually don't have to sit back and just take whatever the state's giving you. You don't have to sit back and take whatever corporations say is what the norm is in our society. But you can fight back and you can say no. You can say no on the internet. You can come to some organizing meetings and say no with members of your communities. You can run campaigns to say no and to actually stop these things from happening.
Right now it's turning into
and I think that's been
a racial
really
issue.
Powerful and transformative.
Cam?
Also, as an organization that does a lot of direct action, and as a direct action practitioner for myself, for folks to be able to see and for me to participate in the act of saying no with my body, right? And how that message has spread around the world and encourage more people to stand up and be like, no, we're not going for that. As well as hear the stories of folks in other places. So whether you are in Prince George's County, where I'm from, if you're in Brooklyn, where I currently live, in Oakland, if you're in St. Louis, if you're in Texas, if you're in Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, that you can look and see, I see young Black people standing up and fighting, and they're talking about stuff that impacts them too. So I know this isn't an individual issue.
So as you can see behind us, in case you're just joining us, a protest outside the Federal Communications Commission, protesting today's likely decision to repeal net neutrality. Today, the internet, as of 2015, the internet is treated as a utility like water and gas, also known as Title II. Excuse me, right now behind you, we see these protests. Just moments ago, FCC Democratic Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel came out supporting the protesters. She's going back in for she just went back in for the 10:30 vote. And I mean, this is a really hot button issue, without a doubt. One side says, all internet speech should be treated equally. Another says, this stifles innovation, which innovation allows for more options, which means lower prices, is better for consumers, especially in rural areas.
We're forcing other Americans to acknowledge the things that we have to say and recognize that.
So we're really seeing a lot of people out here against the decision. You're not seeing really anybody supporting the decision. It's not just corporations are bad issue. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. You have corporations like Facebook, Google, Twitter supporting net neutrality. And then you have the internet service providers like Comcast and other internet service providers actually opposing net neutrality. So it's not as if it's like corporations all are on one side of the issue, but at least here at this protest, you are not seeing really anybody in favor of the issue. And if we do find people that are, we'll be interviewing them as well. But we've already gotten a couple interviews with people here in favor of the protest. And actually, look at that truck that just
know that even if today's vote doesn't go in our favor, the vote continues, that we're still here, we're still fighting, and it's
just drove by. That must have cost a lot of money to rent that. And clearly a lot of inflamed passion on each side.
And Black Youth Project 100!
We're definitely not the only journalists here either.
I want to bring someone up to the stage next. She's with National Hispanic Media Coalition.
Now we're getting somebody with the National Hispanic Media Coalition. We've had somebody who spoke from an African American perspective. Clearly, they're turning this into sort of a racial issue. And then the National Discourse is bringing that to live right now. We're going to try to talk to some more people. So let's go into the crowd.
Let's dial it up.
Put your hands together, y'all, for our coalition.
Watch yourself.
I'm bringing to the stage the Director of Legal Affairs and other fancy governmental things for National Hispanic Media Coalition, Francella Ochillo.
Hello, you guys. I'm so thankful that so many of you decided to brave the cold and stay out here. I speak for the National Hispanic Media Coalition. My name is Francella Ochillo, and we are fighting for Latinos across this country. For those of you who could not be here today, I am talking to you. Latinos are one of the largest segments of the American population, and they are still one of the most
that the staffers that were
what is happening today
just
The
moments
FCC
ago,
is making
nobody
that
now
even
is looking out the
worse.
window.
The
So
FCC
maybe
is
somebody
giving
sent a
internet
memo
service
around
provider
because they
a
saw this
chance to
live feed that
silence
they're not supposed to be
minority voices.
looking out the window
Congressman
at the
Ellison
protests
said
that are
earlier
going on.
that this
But it was
internet
pretty
was
obvious.
created for the people, by the people, and on the public dollar. So we, as the people, have to fight back. We have to resist. Now, when I think about Latino entrepreneurs across this country, the ones who've used the internet to find opportunity, to find funding, to find new customers, they will essentially be silenced by corporations who can afford to appear at the top of your web search.
Again,
For those writers
corporations
and musicians
are not
and
just
other
on one side
artists
of
and
the
content
issue.
creators
Corporations
who
that are
will be
very supportive of
sidelines
net
and
neutrality
essentially
as
pushed
well.
aside, their voices
definitely
will
seeing
be
an
silenced, and you will find that they are harder and harder to find online. And for all of the people of color across this nation who use the internet as a platform to organize for change, to resist, to protest, to demand social justice, those people will be able to be silenced by their providers who can censor their content or block it altogether. None of this is okay. And so what I am asking you today is to see this for what it is. This is an attack on our 21st century civil rights. This means that FCC is
Everything's becoming a civil rights issue.
protest,
Yeah.
to organize, and to fully
Interestingly, you
participate
mentioned
in the 21st
Hispanics.
century.
Isn't Hispanic unemployment at an all-time
What I
low?
need you to do is
I
question all of
believe
the
it is,
actions
yeah.
that you did. I need you to
But
get
somehow the big corporations are attacking them?
Yes, it seems very odd, but this is the civil rights issue of our time. We're being told by people on stage. So
Not school choice?
I don't know. It seems quite odd.
Yeah. Don't forget, this will be posted on the National Discourse Facebook page and the National Discourse page. Yeah, hell yeah, and the nationaldiscourse.com.
NationalDiscourse.com. I'm Cam Erickson, here with Jackson Richman. I am the vice chair of the National Discourse, and Jackson's our editor and columnist. We're getting more people. We're getting some looks from people actually in the crowd. Very curious why we're here.
Very curious.
And we're happy to talk to anybody that wants to express their views. So.
Absolutely.
In 1970, Gil Scott Heron told us that the revolution will not be televised. And you know what? He was right. It wasn't televised. We waited more than 30 years to have our voices heard, to have black voices heard, Latinx voices heard, Asian American voices heard, Native voices heard in the mainstream.
No
and by
sign of
mainstream, I
Linda
mean the
Sarsour
internet.
yet.
Today, the revolution is televised. We can go to our mobile phones, we can go to our internet, and we can find
Yes,
out
this
what's
is
happening.
being televised, and this will be on the National Discourse's Facebook page, nationaldiscourse.com, and the National Discourse's Twitter account at the NATL Discourse.
What he said.
Separated by the cruel and heartless immigration system. And we can stand up and we can call attention to that. That's what this is about today, guys. Don't let them talk. Look, I'm a lawyer. Don't let them use that legal speak to distract you. You know. This is about people. We will not stand, and I will tell you from Free Press Action Fund that once this vote goes down, we will sue the FCC. We will call on Congress to undo this terrible mess that's being made. This will not stand. This will not stand. Free the internet.
All right, thank you so much, Jessica Gonzalez. All right, I'd be remiss if we didn't shout out some of the wonderful organizations that have been part of a mass coalition of groups that have been fighting to stop this horrible vote from happening. This isn't the first time many of you have showed up at a rally, done actions, etc. So let's give some shout outs to groups like Fight for the Future, make some noise. To Band Progress, make some noise. Open Technology Institute, make some noise. United Church of Christ, make some noise. A lot of wonderful organizations that have been at the forefront of fighting One other group that's been doing that is a wonderful group called 18 Million Rising. And coming up to the stage, affiliated with 18MR, we got Deepa Iyer.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? Alright, well I am an Asian American and I'm a South Asian American here today to tell you that saving the net is a civil rights issue that affects Asian Americans all across the United States. You might not know that Asian Americans are actually the fastest growing racial group in the United States. So this is an issue that affects each and every one of us. Nearly 2 million Asian Americans are living below the U.S. poverty line. This includes Southeast Asia, South Asia, and many
We're from an upstart publication called the National Discourse, thenationaldiscourse.com. Can we ask you some questions while you're here?
Yes.
On camera, no, but we can talk off camera.
Okay.
Would
you mind doing it on camera?
Yeah, no.
Would you mind?
I think she just did.
Groups like Asian
Okay.
All right.
Rising that I'm
We'll
affiliated
just do
with
it.
mobilize thousands of Asian
So
Americans
people refusing to answer our
online
question.
organizing and viral petitions. And you might remember the Muslim ban, remember that? In January? Boo on the Muslim ban, right? People went online immediately to organize themselves, to share vital information, to find lawyers and information about their rights. The internet is a powerful tool for social justice organizing. But if we can't utilize it, if we can't access it, then we can't shape our narratives and share our stories and organize each other. And the net becomes a tool for who? For people who want to advance white supremacist, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-women agendas. We will not stand for that. Now I have one more message, and I have a message for Ajit Pai, right, the chairman of the FCC. As someone, and this is also a message for South Asians who might be listening to this. As someone who is from the South Asian community, Ajit Pai is no friend to the South Asian community. South Asians stand to be affected by the repeal of net neutrality from low-income community members to business owners to innovators to students. Ajit Pai, we will remember where you stood on this issue.
Why do you think net neutrality is?
We will also remember that dismantling net neutrality is just part and parcel of the hostile agenda of this administration. This is the administration, right, that has given us the Muslim ban, the refugee ban, the border wall, the raids. These assaults are all connected. But listen up, Mr. Pai, we're not going to turn away. South Asians in particular will not forget where you stood on this issue, and we will hold you accountable. So join me in saying, ho ho, hey hey, Chairman Pai has got to go, ho ho, hey hey, Chairman Pai has got to go, ho ho, hey hey, Chairman Pai has got to go. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Deepa. All right, we're going to get our body moving for just a couple minutes just to get us warmed up. If you need coffee, we got some coffee, we got some donuts. The coffee might not be hot anymore, but you should still drink it. We're going to play a little bit of music and then we'll keep it rolling. DJ, what you got for me?
Thank you.
We got to plug it in. We always forget to do it. Simplest thing.
I was wondering, why do you think that net neutrality is like a racial justice issue? Yeah, we're with the National Discourse. We're with the National Discourse.
An upstart publication. Online, thenationaldiscourse.com.
We're going to rickroll Chairman Pai right now. So get your body moving.
Before I speak with people, I typically know a little. I know their names or what they're.
I'm Cameron.
Jackson. Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
What'd you order from Starbucks?
What'd you say?
What'd you get from Starbucks? What?
Just a coffee.
Just a coffee.
Looks like we're kind of in some sort of intermission and wrapping up here. So I think we've covered enough for today. But we heard some great speakers. I talked to some people on camera as well that were here while they were supporting net neutrality. And it appears that at least one guy is again looking out the window at the FCC, kind of looking at what the commotion is. So thank you for joining us.
Again, this will be posted on the nationaldiscourse.com, the National Discourse Facebook page, and on Twitter. Jackson and Cam, out.